G'day everybody, I'm Scott Poynton and welcome to another QE podcast. And this time I'm on my own again. Well, yes, Finn is still here with me, but in some ways my son Luca is present too, because I've got two stories that he's written and I want to read them out to you. I'm doing this in response really to, or as follow-up to the Broken Boys podcast and blog that I did at the end of February. When I thought about the Broken Boys scenario, I was reminded of two stories that Luca, my son, who's now 16, had written many years apart. He wrote a lovely story when he was 12, just after his 12th birthday, in fact, and he was invited by his teacher to write a story on the theme, I Love the Way You Love the Night. And I remember when he did it, he was under a bit of pressure. It was a Sunday afternoon. He hadn't done his homework. It needed to be handed in the next day. He was sitting in front of the computer. I was going for a walk with Finn. I said, are you right, mate? He said, yes, I've got to do this story. I've left it a bit late. So I went off for maybe half an hour walk and I came back and here was this story printed on the computer. I read it and it took my breath away and I instantly thought to myself, I wonder where he got that from. He's plagiarized it. So I called him and he said, no, I hadn't, Dad. No, I wrote it myself. I said, well, it's very good, Luca. Yes, well, I'm pleased with it, yes. Anyway, he handed it in to his teacher the next day and got exactly the same response. Where did you plagiarize this from, Luca? And he's adamant that he didn't. It's a beautiful story. I'm going to read it for you in a minute. But the reason I wanted to do that was because Luca's quite a good writer and he writes regularly at school. English is one of his favourite subjects. And this year, he's now in year 11, he's 16. He was invited to write a story on the theme, A Moment in Time. And the contrast between the two stories could not be more dramatic. He's written a very vivid war scene in A Moment in Time. And I'm going to read that for you as well. But let me first give you I Love the Way You Love the Night. It's a beautiful story written by a 12-year-old boy. I love the way you love the night. It is a time of joy and happiness because anything could happen. You could find a new friend. You could even find out that you love someone. The night is your wildest dream. The night is dark, but in your head it is as bright as a light. Your head is full of wonderful, bright ideas. You dream of the best of things that could happen to you, and then they might even come true. It is like making a wish list. I love the way you love the night because I love it too. I love dancing with you. I love sitting next to you. I love singing with you. I love doing everything with you. Do you love the night because it is beautiful? Do you love the night because of the things you can see? Do you love the night because of how fun it is? Or do you love the night because you are with me? I love the night because I'm with you. I love the night because of you. I love the night because you love it too. I love the night because I'm with you by my side. You showed me the night when we were friends, and now I go out into the night every time I can to be with you. The night is the best place to be when you are bored. Anything can happen. I love the way you love the night. The day is dull, I have to work, but then when I come home, it is already dark, so I can be with you. But then the day comes and it all starts all over again. That's I Love the Way You Love the Night by Luca when he was 12. And I hasten to add, Luca's a great lad. He's a wonderful kid. But what was interesting for me when I read A Moment in Time was that I recalled that when he was 12, he came home from school very proudly one day saying that he was the kid that was voted of having the least screen time out of the whole year group of around 140, 150 students. He didn't have a phone at the time. He didn't have a computer. We have a desktop at home. He didn't use it very much. And he was a kid that was free to imagine, open his mind to the world. And this relates, I think, to the Broken Boys article where I shared that article about the NASA research which showed that kids get dumbed down. Here's a kid that had not yet been exposed to screen time and the media and all of these things. Of course, these things change. He's 16 now. He does have a phone, though he doesn't get to use it very often. He has a computer. The school required that all kids have a laptop. He doesn't get to use that very often either. But nonetheless, through the intervening years, he has been on YouTube. He has played computer games. And I was always disturbed to find him playing some very violent games, shooting and killing people, blood everywhere. And I'm like, Luca, come on, this is not you, mate. Well, he likes it. And any opportunity he got, he would sneak off and play those games, which disturbed my wife and I. But he's a good kid, and I don't think he's, broken in any way like this. I'm not suggesting that. I'm trying to deal with this in a very sensitive way. But earlier this year, when he had to produce 3 stories, in fact, for his English Year 11, one of them under the theme of A Moment in Time, He was very excited by what he produced and asked me to read it because he knows I love his writing, and he asked me to read it. And I did. He's since worked on it, and it's now a final piece. It's been handed in, and I want to read it for you. And I don't think it could be much more different from I Love the Way You Love the Night. Here it is. It's called A Moment in Time. Explosions everywhere. Blood, guts and mud carpet the valley floor. Dirt and shrapnel cut through the air at fatal speeds, leaving a gaping hole in any soldier in its path. The ground erupts in flames, engulfing men and disintegrating them where they stand. A bullet flying through the air is as common as a butterfly in your garden. The battlefield is a place no man wishes to be. Brothers in arms surge forward, mouths gaping open in a roar of bravery. The honourable cries of glory and the frail cries of death ring through the valley. There is no silence in this hell-bound battlefield. Adrenaline explodes through their veins, making them feel invincible. A grenade thuds to the ground beside them, and their faces pale with horror and realisation, their eyes widening. Grim looks are shared. Boom! First the fire and shrapnel, then the ringing sound. Blood and body parts rain from above. No one stops to look at the bodies or at the wounded. The sight is so common, no one gives it a second glance. Mud splashes as soldiers charge through the trenches. In a side room, exasperated generals of war, decorated with their medals of honour, discuss strategies. Words pass between them, concealed from the enemy. A group of soldiers plows forward with their guns steady in their hands when suddenly a small metal chunk falls at their feet. An explosion of white burning light fills their vision. The soldiers cover their eyes, but it is futile. The flashbang stuns them. The enemy soldiers are on them. Some use their bayonets to skewer the soldiers whilst others pull out their pistols to execute their sworn enemy. By midday, there is a sea of dented and broken helmets and generals' caps in a war-scarred landscape. I lie on the ground, spread-eagled, with one eye closed and the other looking through the iron sights of my rifle. Shoot, open the clip, replace the bullet, close the clip, shoot. A series of movements drilled into my soldier's brain so that it happens on impulse. Crusted blood runs along my arms and legs. My sticky uniform is rumpled and bloody. No longer the nicely folded regimentals I was handed when I signed up. My right index finger itches on the trigger, waiting to pull the metal deathbringer. Through the scope, I bring the crosshairs onto an enemy's helmet. I hold my breath, I focus, I pull the trigger. The rifle bucks, and I feel the reassuring punch to the shoulder as the bullet pierces the air and buries itself into its target. The enemy's body slumps and thuds to the floor. A bloody splat leaves its mark on the wall behind where the man has lost his life. A reminder of what I have done. I kneel as I reload. The pressure on my ribs from having lain down so long is released. A burden of despair weighs on my shoulders as I think about the man who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That afternoon, soldiers flounder in the valley below me like a toy army, their boots and guns weighing them down as they trudge through the rat-infested trenches. Desperate cries break through the gale of sounds. Gas! Gas! Soldiers fumble for their gas masks. The cold metal masks fit over their heads. The gas seeps through the trenches like a relentless tide, burning anyone too slow to get their mask on. Gruesome gurgling sounds flood the valley floor as soldiers choke on their own body fluids. I watch from afar as soldiers fall left and right on the battlefield, dying the most agonising deaths imaginable. Soldiers perish with their guts spilled out on their laps, blood soaking into their uniforms. Some thrash on the ground, entire body parts missing. Others die without injury, but have been seized by the chemical malevolence that oozes through the valley floor, dispersed by the gas grenades. Young men die fighting for their country. Their mothers will lament. Their fiancés will mourn. Brothers in arms will never forget what happened that day, consumed by nightmares and the sounds of the battlefield. So quite a different story there from I Love the Way You Love the Night, a dramatic contrast, and one that I found disturbing. I talked about this with Luca and asked him for permission to read the stories here on the Kui podcast. He was happy for me to do that. I asked him if he would read them himself, but he was too shy. I'm not making any analysis here, I'm not making any conclusions, but the passage of this wonderful, love-filled story from this innocent 12-year-old to this brutal, blood-filled, ringing with death story of a moment in time that Luca has now created. When I look at what's changed in between, well, many things have changed. Life has happened, many more experiences. But I know one of those elements is looking at these computer games, looking at screen time. It does concern me. I must say, on a really positive note, Luca was also invited as part of his coursework to write a response to the NRA, the CEO of the NRA, Mr. LaPierre Jr. After the Las Vegas shooting in the US, there was an article appeared by Mr. LaPierre, and Luca was invited to choose that or another article to write a response, and he did. And so I won't read that out. It's a very interesting letter that he's written, but I'll read the last paragraph where he concludes, "I hope that in future you'll be more compassionate, more thoughtful about a greater diversity of possible solutions, and better informed before demanding more guns. Failure to do so will only bring more senseless murder and death upon innocent American citizens. Yours sincerely, Luca Poynton." In the aftermath of the Florida shooting, obviously we can say that Luca was right, and we fear, of course, that there could be more. Anyway, two fascinating stories, two fascinating insights into what's going on into the mind of a developing young boy. But I want to finish it up on a really positive sense. First to say Luca's going great, and he's a lovely kid. No one should worry about him. He really asked me to stress that. He said, "Dad, don't say anything, make it sound like there's something wrong with me." There's nothing wrong with Luca. But I just want to go back to one of the paragraphs in "I Love the Way You Love the Night," written by this 12-year-old boy, to finish up. He says, "Do you love the night because it is beautiful? Do you love the night because of the things you can see? Do you love the night because of how fun it is? Or do you love the night because you are with me?" I'm Scott Poynton. Thanks for listening.